in that moment, it really was my aha light bulb moment going, what has been going on here? And it's not that we want to, you know, hide the pain or run away from it or not know that something severe is going in our body. I'm not ever suggesting that. Um, I wouldn't recommend it. It's quite an adventure. But to understand that mechanism, what happens when we are aware and are, um, that fight flight kicks in? Whereas, what are the mechanisms that I was using to heal the bone?
Welcome back, friends. This is PCOS Unfiltered, the show where we cut through the noise, ditch the quick fixes, and talk about what it really takes to heal from the inside out. I'm your host, Lindsie, nurse, health coach, and a fierce believer that your diagnosis is just one chapter, not the whole story. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible connection between the mind and body with someone who truly bridges science and soul, Paige Turner Gordon. She is a certified hypnotherapist, yoga instructor, and author of the book Pain Reset Without Pills. She's also the founder of a brand new healing studio coming spring 2026 that blends neuroscience, ancient wisdom, and body based practices to help people rewire pain and reclaim their peace. Throughout these episodes with Paige, we'll talk about how your nervous system shapes your healing, what the latest neuroscience is showing about pain perception, and how ancient practices like yoga, breathwork, and hypnosis actually change the brain. So, whether you're struggling with chronic pain, stress hormonal imbalances, or just that feeling of being stuck in your body, this conversation is going to show you that your body isn't broken, it's communicating, and there's a way to listen. As always, the content shared on PCOS Unfiltered, Nourish, Heal, Thrive is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests are not intended to serve as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or treatment plan. The information shared is based on personal experience and expert interviews and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance. Now, let's dive in. Hello and welcome. I am super excited to have Paige Turner Gordon here with me today. Uh, this is going to be a good one, definitely. I've touched on hypnotherapy before with somebody else, but I think you're going to bring a whole different side of things to this conversation. So let's go ahead and get started and just kind of learn. I want to learn about you and tell all the listeners your story and how you got here. And, were there any like early experiences that brought you to where you are today?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I mean, where we are now has definitely been a lot of pivotal moments leading up to after 17 years of practice, finally opening a studio, which we'll get into later. Spoiler alert. But yeah, just blending hypnotherapy and yoga definitely came to me in pretty much the most significant coincidence of my life because at the time I was studying hypnotherapy at HMI and Kundalini at Golden Bridge Yoga in Los Angeles, California. And on the same day, and of course I had to drive across town, but we learned the almost exact verbatim meditation script practice for astral projection. And I learned, almost the same technique from an ancient textbook and ladies dressed in white robes and like a newly printed handbook. So I just knew at that moment, this is all about mind body connection. These are two practices that have to be accelerating together. So at that point, I took it upon myself to found Hypno Yoga Online and go rogue and kind of travel the world, teaching online, which was not cool at the time. That was 2009. So I was kind of a nerd, and I've always been a bit of a nerd just looking into the science. And really, honestly, that's what keeps me going. So the new science is what's so exciting.
That's awesome. So, we'll get more into your book as well later, but what was kind of your big aha moment as well? Like when you realized, especially that pills weren't the only pathway to healing.
Oh, right. Well, not on purpose. I can tell you that. I can tell you that, not on purpose, because, as I said, there have been a lot of twists and turns and pivotal moments along the way. So this is definitely the next kind of one that started the path towards the seeking the possibilities without pills. I was in Thailand and I was volunteering after Fukushima. So I, was in a very remote area and I decided to do the very cliche thing of being an American who breaks their foot in Thailand. And I was in a very remote area where I just happened to be secluded from any kind of medical imaging, any real advice medically. They let me decide if I had a cast or not. So in my mind, I was under the belief that it was not as severe as it was. So this was 2011. I had founded Hypno Yoga in 2009 and was traveling, as I said. And so those were my practices. That was what I knew to lean on. Not only was there no imaging, there was no access to any type of prescription pill. I had rest, ice, elevation, and compression. I had really healthy food and the ability to just listen to my mentors' guided imagery. I listened to hypnosis recordings for bone stitching. I was dealing with pain management through mindfulness, breath work, all the good things, the yoga and the hypnotherapy and those elements all combined. I had the luxury of being in Thailand where it was $10 a day, so I could just sit around and do that all day and heal myself. So I also had a friend with me who was kind of a wild person who had broken every single bone in his body, and so he was saying, "You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." So I had that belief. I had all these factors stacked in my favor without even knowing it. And so 12 days later, when I finally made it to modern imaging, which was still kind of archaic because they literally slapped the X-ray up on the wall, and in the moment that I saw the severity of the break, I experienced almost immediately the worst pain by far that I had experienced the entire time. And physically, my foot swelled up to the size of a football. Like it swelled up more than it ever had. Just instantly, my body got the signal to panic, basically. So, in that moment, it really was my aha light bulb moment going, what has been going on here? And it's not that we want to, you know, hide the pain or run away from it or not know that something severe is going in our body. I'm not ever suggesting that. Um, I wouldn't recommend it. It's quite an adventure. But to understand that mechanism, what happens when we are aware and are, that fight flight kicks in? Whereas, what are the mechanisms that I was using to heal the bone? Because one second. Not only was that remarkable, they wanted to do surgery on me. They said that it was, a medical anomaly that anyone would not go straight into surgery and still be healing and, on their own and not be in significant pain like that. So I took that as I'm not going to let you break my foot that's already so healed and put in this archaic like metal device and screw it to my foot. Now, of course, that's what should be done in most situations. But since my bone had already formed a like a healing suture, it was a little bit too late for that. Um,
Mhm.
so they said months later when I returned home to the States that they still thought it was a good idea to do surgery. They said that there was no way that I wouldn't be in pain for the rest of my life, that bones just don't heal themselves that way. And the odd thing about it was when they had called 5 or 6 doctors to look at my X-ray, they didn't want me to see it because they didn't understand what they were looking at.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I became obsessed, of course, with what happened there. That's nothing short of a miraculous result. And I still, to this day, by the way, that was 2011. It's 2025. I can feel it a little bit when it gets cold and rainy, but that's about it. Not gonna lie, but I don't have pain and I don't have any limitations in my walking or anything like that. So what's happening there? Again, if you break a bone, go get the modern medical care. But because I was able to experience it from outside and all angles, it was a aha and a quest moment where it's like I still am always seeking to really understand how we access that and how we can help others get there quickest.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. I do. I love that. There's so much in the power of the mind that we don't realize. And I see that a lot with a lot of women with PCOS too, because a lot of the times when they're handed that diagnosis, they're told it's a chronic condition and they're going to have to deal with this all of their life. Um, and that's already, got the mind going into that, like, okay, well, then I guess I'm just stuck with this and this is my life from now on. Where if you flip the script, and keep it positive and think, okay, I'm diagnosed with this, but what else is out there? I feel like you can have so many better outcomes.
That
If
is
you,
so true. Yes, and also with the chronic diagnoses, a lot of times they're looking at that surface symptom, they're looking at the group of symptoms, they're pointing to it in the book, they're saying this is what this is, and then they're medicating or treating it medically from that angle without ever a lot of the chronic and autoimmune diseases and disorders that I see are related to childhood trauma, are related to some type of emotional distress, patterns, unhealthy or repetitive patterns.
Mhm.
And without ever addressing those, the symptoms are just going to continue to get worse. And then of course, then we've got the meds, and then we've got the symptoms and the side effects of those as well, which we in turn treat with more meds. And it's not that I'm against, better living through chemistry. And I do believe that there are, we won't get into, that there are life-saving treatments out there.
Yeah.
But that there's such a prevalence of over prescribing and over diagnosing that we have to start treating the whole human and looking at what's going on beneath the surface and not be afraid of looking at ourselves to find the truth and those answers that we have.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's why you and I hit it off so well because, from my nursing days too, and now from what I do, like I've seen both sides of it and completely agree, of course, that yes, we're not looking at the whole person, unfortunately, in Western medicine a lot of the times. And now I can still kind of look at that side of it, the medical side, but I can incorporate more holistically, what I do today. And
Yeah, I
sure,
love that. I respect that so much. I see so many nurses burgeoning out of that, and they love my book too. Like it helps when my feet are hurting and I'm frustrated at the end of the day.
Well, that's, yeah. Oh, I remember those days.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And now, you have that as a background, which is so incredible because I come from more of like a linguistic and communication studies, like sociological, and you come from more of the medical. So that's so awesome that we're meeting in the middle on the same stuff because this is what science is showing us works, but it's also the practices that have been around for centuries.
Yeah, yeah, and it's super important to talk about. I mean, I think for anybody, no matter what avenue you decide, you just have to be educated and know that there is more out there than just maybe the traditional way of thinking, and that you just need to educate yourself and then be able to advocate for yourself for whatever decision you choose. Yeah.
Yes, the advocating is a big part of it too, because we feel trapped in our doctor's diagnosis. And like you said, they say, this is what you have now, this is what you're going to live with. You are taking, of course, we're taught to take their word at face value, and that's what we start to believe. And yet, look at how many examples we have of coming out of that, big and small,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Like exactly. My one client, Della, who has given her permission to share her story because she has such a beautiful story to share. She was prescribed antidepressants and told she had depression, chasing doctors, chasing different diagnoses when all along it was long COVID. They just said that statistically speaking, she didn't have long COVID, so therefore she didn't. So just coming out of that and understanding and being even listened to in a real way to address the mind and body, she was able to go back, advocate for herself, know and push for the right answers, and start to get the diagnoses and the medicine more aligned with what she needed. Just
Mhm.
something simple as that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Wow, what a powerful conversation. I love how Paige blends modern neuroscience with the wisdom of ancient healing, reminding us that healing isn't about fixing the body, but reconnecting with it. If you love this episode, make sure to grab a copy of her book, Pain Reset Without Pills, and check out her online offerings at hypnoyogaonline.com. You'll find everything from mind body workshops to one on one sessions designed to help you reset your nervous system and rediscover what safe feels like in your own skin. And if today's episode sparked something in you, a moment of awareness, a breath of relief, or even curiosity, that's where healing begins. Until next time, remember, your body is not the enemy, it's the guide. I'm Lindsie, and this is PCOS Unfiltered. Nourish, Heal, Thrive.